Hi, I'm Callie and welcome to Kapowski Reads, and it's time for a mid-year freak out, but like in a calm and relaxed way, because reading is for fun and we're not freaking out about things that are meant to be fun, okay? Because I will easily freak out, and if I freak out I'm taking all of you with me, so we're gonna freak out but in a really calm and relaxed way. So I have, I believe, 13 or so questions just to kind of summarize my reading year so far and kind of put like some manifestation, if you will, into the second half of the year when it comes to reading. I will add the questions in the description for anybody who wants to join in because it's fun. Question number one, we really are just starting with the biggies. What is my favourite book so far of 2024? And I refuse in June to just come up with my one favourite. No, I've got three. So I have my short list of my three favourite books from this year so far, only one of which I actually own in a physical copy, and that one is Where Sleeping Girls Lie by Farida Abike Ayamede. This is a dark academia young adult, but I would say the higher end of young adult, just because it's quite, I mean, dark academia, it's quite dark. A story set in a very prestigious private school where a lot of secrets are unearthed, and it was just really just so good. This was the second book that I had read by this author, and I mean, there's a good chance that I will be setting out another chair at the table for my favourite authors sometime soon, as soon as I read another book by her, because I loved it. Kept me guessing, kept me just on the edge of my seat. I just wanted to pick this up and I loved it. It did not feel like, how many words? Oh, 555 pages. It did not feel like it. It felt like it was like over in an instant. Loved it. The other two books I have either read from the library, in which case it is The Bennett Women by Eden Appiah Kubi. This is a modern reimagining of Pride and Prejudice, and it's set in a university campus where we have just the most beautiful like relationships, not just romantic relationships, but like a sisterhood and kind of like found family. It was gorgeous, just gorgeous to read. I love Pride and Prejudice. I will read every Pride and Prejudice inspired story going, but this just wove its way into my heart, and it just, I love it. I loved it so much, and highly recommend it if you want to read just lovely romances with lots of strong female characters and you just want a good read. So good. And the last book from my favourites so far is one of my newest reads. It is Youth Juice by E.K. Sathu, which is just one of the most unhinged books I have read this year, and I love that for me. It was so good. I absolutely adored this book. It was a book I got from NetGalley, but oh, when my low spend year is over, I'm going to be getting me a physical copy because I want to write on it. The dialogue was just like that nice witty kind of Mona Awad-esque just bants. It was such good dialogue. This book took place in the world of a wellness and lifestyle brand startup, lots of skincare, lotions and potions, and again, secrets. Many secrets. But these secrets were like, I mean, the word unhinged I will use regularly, but I mean it so much. There is no other word I can think of right now. It was chaotic, glorious, chaotic, and I loved every single moment of this. So those are my three favourites for the year so far. I'm intrigued to find out what I will be saying at the end of the year. Question number two is the best sequel I have read so far in 2024. I don't think I've read a lot of series so far this year. I have, but I haven't enjoyed them, so we don't count them. But one series I did make progress in that I did really enjoy was called A Demon's Guide to Wooing a Witch by Sarah Hawley. This book was like a fun romance that I keep forgetting this series is spicy, and when it gets to that point I'm like literally clutching my pearls. This was a fun romance where we had a demon who had amnesia trope, and he was being accompanied by a witch who he had met in the previous story. Don't have to have read book one. They work as standalones, but there are some callbacks. And he and this witch had had a moment where she booted him and he like took air. So they had had a literal fisticuffs. But she ends up kind of working together with him, and it's like an actual enemies to lovers book where, I mean, if you tell me it's enemies to lovers, I want them to have like, you know, maybe booted one of them across a field. I want actual enemies, and this felt like proper enemies, and I really, really liked it. I do have an advanced copy of the third book in this series, so I am hopeful I will get to that later this year. Question number 3 is a new release that I have not read yet, and I want to. I'm gonna go with A Sleep Like Death by Kaylin Veyron, because I'm filming this on the 20th and this book comes out on the 25th, and I intend to sit and read it the moment I get it. Like, unless I'm working, then the second I finish work, I will sit and read it. It is a Snow White inspired book that I think is from the villain side, maybe? I'm excited. I love this author and I've loved everything that she's written, and I have full confidence that I will love this one too. Question number 4 is my most anticipated release of the second half of 2024. I have another favourite author here. The Seventh Veil of Salome by Silvia Moreno Garcia. I pre-ordered this book last year. I'm not 100% certain of the plot of this book, but I think it's set in the 1950s. But I'm not 100% certain. I just know I want to read it, and I know I'm gonna love it. Question 5 makes me feel really guilty, which is my biggest disappointment of 2024. Sorry, I thought somebody was at the door. They weren't. I have 2 biggest disappointments. So for me, these are not books that I didn't like necessarily. I have 2, and these are books that I thought I was gonna love and I didn't. So the first, I feel so guilty. Other people love these books though, so it's not just, it might just be me. The first book is Yellowface by Rebecca F. Kuang. I liked this book. I believe I gave it like 3.5 stars. I liked it, but I feel like this book was all, maybe not overhyped, but it was being hyped as being just utterly chaotic. A main character that you're like, what? It is like just madness, like just a character that you're like, nobody would think like that. Like, just, I was promised an unhinged read, not by the author, just by the reviews that I had seen. And I love a chaotic book. I crave a chaotic book. I want to come out of a book going like, WTF, what is going on? That is what I want. And I went into this book expecting and hoping for that. And instead I got a book that I thought, well, that could just be based on things that have really happened. There was nothing that shocked me. There was nothing that surprised me. And I thought, oh, I thought there was going to be a twist. There was a twist. But the twist I was expecting, I think would have, if had it gone down that direction, it would have been, oh, five stars. But it didn't. And I just felt like maybe this book was built up too much as something it wasn't. Or maybe I just crave a more chaotic book. This wasn't for me. I did like it though. I just didn't love it. But the next book that is on my most disappointed list, I didn't like. I did not like it. The Mystery Writer by Solari Gentile. Again, one of my most anticipated reads of the year, and I had loved The Woman in the Library, and I didn't like this. I feel, but I don't think it's the author's fault. I feel like the blurb of this book told me all of the twists that were coming. So I read the blurb of the book going, what's it about? It's about this and this and this. And then things that were in the blurb were happening the halfway point of the book, or like 50 pages from the end. And it was almost like they should have been surprises. They should have been twists. Sorry, my neighbors are having some issue with getting the door open. And I just felt so disappointed, because had I not read the blurb, my expectations wouldn't have already, I don't know. I just feel like I was expecting the twists to not be in the book description, but they were. Question number 6 is my biggest surprise of the year. I'm going with So Happy For You by Celia Lasky. I love this book. This is one of my favorites of the year so far. I was surprised by this because my friend Amanda gave me this book. We did a book swap and she was like, I didn't love it. So when you do a book swap with your friends and one of them gives you a book and goes, I didn't love it, I was a bit like, am I gonna love it? And I did love it. It's chaos. It's a chaotic read set amongst a wedding where there's a bridezilla, and this is set in a world where weddings are like an actual cult. I loved it. Fantastic. My friend didn't love it, but we all like different things, and I think she kind of knew that this was going to work for me. Question number 7 is a favourite new to me author, and I am going with Uzma Jalaluddin. I did read a book by this author back in December, but it was just one, and you do not get onto my favourite author list until I've had 3 5-stars out of you. I make them work hard. But I read 2 more books by this author this year. I love them both. I love this author. I just love the way that she writes characters where I fall in love with them. And I genuinely find myself wanting amazing things for these characters. And I feel like she captures my heart with them. Question 8 is my newest fictional crush. I never really understand this question, because am I meant to crush on characters that aren't real? I haven't been. Am I supposed to? I don't. I don't have an answer for this. I think it's kind of like that bookish boyfriend thing that I see people sharing, like, oh, that's my book boyfriend, and I'm like, no, my boyfriend's in the other room playing World of Warcraft. Yeah, I don't have an answer for this, but if you do, let me know, because I would be interested, and you know, maybe I'll read those books too. Question number 9 is my newest favourite character. I love a wise, older side character with a little mischievous side. I'm going with both of the granddads from A Proposal They Can't Refuse by Natalie Kanya. The grandfathers in this kind of force these kids to just finally get together. You silly little kids, just do it. They're not kids, they're fully grown adults. But I absolutely loved these 2 grandfathers just creating these situations to force their grandkids, who everyone could see were in love with each other, and they're like, no, I don't like them, and they were like, shut up, you do. And it was just so charming. I was charmed, and I absolutely loved them. I love an older, just lovable character. I never had my own grandparents, so I learned to knit so I could become my own kind of grandmother character, and B, I look for adorable grandparents in books, and I found them in this. Question number 10 is a book that made me cry, and I could go with pretty much every book that I've read, with the exception of maybe 5. I cry a lot, which is probably why I'm always dehydrated. I'm forever crying. But I would say that the book that broke me emotionally the most, This year, I forgot to get one of them. Yeah, so the two books that broke me the most were Juno Loves Legs by Carl Geary, which if you read the blurb of this book, you'll be like, yeah, of course you cried at that, you crazy woman. Like, obviously you're gonna cry. You're an emotional wreck. Why would you not cry at this story that follows these two friends from childhood to adulthood in 1980s Ireland, where the book actually starts with them like basically like just going through horrible experiences in their Catholic school and not having like safe home lives, being adults that again just don't have like a safe place to be, and it broke me. I thought this book was fantastic and powerful, but I didn't like it because I didn't like what happened to the characters. And don't read this book expecting anything nice to happen, because nothing nice happens. But it's so powerful. But no, I wanted to put it in the freezer and it broke my little heart. But it was really good. But I'm never reading it again. It's actually my charity shop pile because I can't read it again. I can't. No. And the other book that made me sob profusely is The Poisons We Drink by Bethany Baptiste. I know what you're thinking. It's a chunky fantasy, but like, why would a fantasy make you cry so much? Well, because I fell in love with the characters so much in this book. Wonderful characters, wonderful relationships between the characters, and things happened and my heart shattered and I was not okay. But I love this book and I will be rereading this book again, and I will have like a big glass of water next to me to replenish all of the moisture lost through my tears, because I love this book, but it broke my wee heart. I loved the characters maybe too much. Maybe I just loved them too much that I any peril, and there's a lot of things that happen in this book and a lot of tension and a lot of just, are people going to be okay? I don't know. But yes, these two made me sob the most. On to a more chipper question. Question 11 is books that made me happy. And I would say that the book that made me the happiest this year so far is Hello Kitty Must Die by Angela S. Choi. I rediscovered this book. I fell in love with this book over 10 years ago, then forgot about it. And then found it's a very yellowed old copy, but also very well read. I refound my copy of this book, and the moment I started reading it, I remembered I loved this book, and it was like being reunited with an old friend, and it was just so nice finding this book again. It's about a woman who reunites with a childhood friend, and he kills people, and suddenly our main character's dates start going missing, showing up no longer alive or sometimes intact, and turns out, you know, Bestie really likes killing people. So a little bit chaotic, but that is what I enjoy in a book. I believe this got turned into an Edinburgh Festival show, which I wish I knew about and wish I remembered that I had loved this book, then gone to see the show. That would have been great. This is a dark story, but it's very humorous in its delivery, and fantastic. Good time with it, and I will be rereading it over and over now that I've got it back in my life. Never left my life. It's been in a box. I just didn't know it was in a box. Question number 12 is the most beautiful book that I have bought this year. I have been on a low spend year, which means I've not bought any new books with the exception of my existing pre-orders and Juno Loves Legs, which was a book club book and allowed. But I would say that the most gorgeous cover of my pre-orders of my new book is So Let Them Burn by Camilla Cole. This cover is stunning, and I think like see if you can really see, you've got the dragons and like our main character, and it's, I mean, the cover is fantastic, but also the book is fantastic as well. I also highly recommend this book. We have gorgeous, again, sibling relationship, and there is a dragon training school. There is impending war. There is politics, fantasy politics, which are always very interesting. Really cool world building and really fun characters, and it's such a really enjoyable story where I didn't know what was going to happen next. I don't know if this is a series. I hope it is, because I would like to read more of this book. If it's not a series, maybe it could be. That would be great. Yeah, highly recommend this one too, even though we're just talking about how pretty it is. It's also pretty on the inside too, as in the contents of it. The pages are just normal pages. And question number 13 is, what book do I need to read before the end of 2024? And I would say there's a lot of books that I feel like I need to read before the end of the year. I currently have 222 books on my TBR that I already own. And I, at the start of this year, really wanted to get that number down to under 100. That's not going to happen. Like, it could, but I'd need to ignore all of my library loans, and I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to just aim to read enough books so that I can fit all of my unread books on shelves. That's a goal. And I'd also like to read all of the books on my NetGalley shelf, because I currently have 20, and I felt almost shamed when I had 21 and I was like, oh, I've got 2 pages. I need to read some of these. And more than half of my 20 NetGalley books have already come out, which makes me feel so bad because, well, I was meant to read them before they came out, and I haven't. So I'd like to read those, and I'd also like to get my current unread book collection down a smidge. That 222 is made up of physical, audio and ebooks as well. So they're not all taking up space, but a lot of them are. So that is my mid-year freak out, and we were so calm. Not freaking out at all. We're relaxed. Let me know how your year has gone so far. If you've got a favourite book from the year, let me know. And thank you so much for watching. Bye.